comedian Dave Chappelle did his thing on SNL this week. Let's watch.
Jimmy Carter said, I want to go to the Palestinian territory, and the Israeli government said it's too dangerous, and if you go, we cannot protect you. And man, Jimmy Carter went anyway. I will never forget the images of a former American president walking with little to no security while thousands of Palestinians were cheering him on. And when I saw that picture, it brought tears to my eyes. I said, I don't know if that's a good president, but that right there, I am sure, is a great man. It made me feel very proud.
And at the end, he got real. Let's watch.
The presidency is no place for petty people. So Donald Trump, I know you watch the show. Man, remember, whether people voted for you or not, they're all counting on you. Whether they like you or not, they're all counting on you. The whole world is counting on you. And I mean this when I say this. Good luck. Please do better next time. Please, all of us, do better next time. Do not forget your humanity, and please have empathy for displaced people, whether they're in the Palisades or Palestine.
I think those are edifying remarks that I'm pleased to see from Dave Chappelle, who's someone I certainly respect and find very humorous and certainly a terrific commentator on what we're going through politically, culturally, philosophically. Not surprised by that. I think those are very good words.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think we're fans of Dave Chappelle around here, and we're fans of people who display some kind of independence of thought rather than just talking points. And he definitely goes his own way in his comedy and in his broader viewpoints. I thought it was actually very legitimate for him to say to a SNL audience that certainly would be largely skeptical of Trump that, you know, people are counting on him and he wishes him well and all of that. I, of course, like the part about Jimmy Carter and Palestine, not only because I thought that it was worth acknowledging the role and the viewpoint that Carter represented there, but I think Chappelle's point was really about the display of moral courage on an issue. And I think that is something that is in short supply. I think the late President Carter displayed it on the issue of Israel and the Palestinians. And so good for Dave Chappelle for noting that.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, we've talked already on the show today, but mention again, since it's relevant to the subject, that I think it is excellent that Trump helped broker a peace deal in the Middle East between Israel and concerning Gaza. And yesterday we saw hostages being freed, three women under very perilous circumstances. I think those videos were very horrifying for a lot of Americans watching the part where crowds were really trying to get them. I mean, it was the Hamas people who had them were keeping the crowds at bay. It was very, very scary and a reminder that there are a lot of difficult issues still to work out in this region between groups of people who've been fighting and feuding for forever. And, you know, what role America can play for the good is up for debate and scrutiny. I'm someone who wants to be really less involved with the Middle East because I've questioned our role there for some time. And maybe it takes a heterodox thinker, political actor like Donald Trump to shake up the bad parts of the foreign policy establishment. That doesn't mean I'll agree with everything he does on the foreign policy standpoint, and I'll be ready to criticize him if he does. But to think of the humanity of people across the world is always a good thing to warn our political leaders to consider.
And on the point of humanity, certainly I think it is important not to in any way minimize the experience of the hostages or the hostage families and all of that. Obviously, we saw celebrations in Gaza in particular, and to some extent in the West Bank. And it is important, while we acknowledge the humanity of the hostages, to acknowledge the terrible suffering that has been inflicted on Gaza, where the local authorities estimate 46,000 people, the majority of them women and children, have been killed. Just finally, sort of circling back to the Chappelle point, I did think that was a really powerful line about how the presidency is no place for petty people. And I think that's going to be one of the bigger picture things to look at in the coming years.
Yes, and Trump is considered by a lot of people, not for unreasonable reasons, that to have been petty, and he uses Truth Social to rail against people. But we just saw him, last week at the Carter funeral, chatting amicably with Obama, chatting with other, our world leaders all gathered here for his inauguration. So who knows what we're going to see in these next 4 years, but we will be here discussing it. That does it for us today on Rising. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you can listen to podcasts.